Tonight on Q2, all hands on deck.
The Billings Police Department casting an enormous net as they look to solve Saturday's deadly shooting at the Carnival.
I guess what the public needs to know is that no time is a case like this ever just set on a desk and left. Somebody is always working on it.
Plus, bringing prayer back into the classroom.
Well, I think that getting back to the foundation of God and His Word would be the best thing that our country could do. 2
legislative bills may mean you see more religion in schools. We'll dive into the controversial issue on this National Day of Prayer.
And a dire warning.
I'm most angry, besides how much hurt on my family is that she suffered for hours, that she was in so much pain for hours.
I'll introduce you to a Roberts woman turning personal loss into a mission to help others.
The MTN News starts right now.
From Montana's news leader, this is the MTN 530 News.
Good evening, everyone, and thanks for joining us on this Thursday. I'm Russ Riesinger.
And I'm Jackie Coffin. 5 days after a man was shot and killed just outside of a Billings Carnival, there are still no arrests.
And tonight we are learning why. Billings police now say there are 60 persons of interest in the case and a mountain of evidence to sift through. So much evidence that 4 detectives are working full-time on the case. That's nearly a quarter of the department.
Our Kelsey Marison has the latest on the investigation as police expand their search perimeter.
North Park is more than a mile down the road from the Carnival at Barry's Cherries, but police now say the investigation into Saturday night's shooting stretches all the way to this neighborhood.
Shots were fired, about 10 shots.
On Saturday night, what many thought would be a night of fun at the Carnival quickly turned to fright as shots rang out and a 20-year-old man was killed.
There were babies, there were toddlers running around, mainly teenagers, and it was just unreal.
5 days later, Billings police now say the investigation into the matter only continues to grow.
Detectives said that they're looking right now at a list somewhere near 60 individuals that they've identified that they either have done interviews with or still need to go do interviews with, but nobody that's been labeled a specific suspect yet.
That's right. 60 individuals have been named as persons of interest in the Carnival shooting. To put things into perspective, last year's fatal shooting of 15-year-old Cohen Parker had far less persons of interest and still took months to investigate. Yet another case involving dozens of teens and lots of cell phones with potential evidence.
That case had somewhere around 30 individuals, and we know we don't have everybody. So it's very similar in that aspect.
Meanwhile, police are now releasing new details about the homicide itself, telling MTN it appears to have been planned.
There were individuals that were involved that intentionally hid their identities by using masks, either half or full masks. This appears at this point that this was planned. There was some premeditated aspects into this attack.
And Billings police need your help. They're looking for evidence blocks away from the Carnival because they say many of the teens fled into a residential area near North Park.
We'll put out a map that I have marked off. If you have video surveillance, if you would review it for the night of the shooting.
A case with dozens upon dozens of potential witnesses and a ton of evidence to sift through, meaning this case is likely a long ways away from being closed.
These things are not solved like they're solved on television, right? We very rarely are able to solve something like this within an hour block with commercial breaks in the middle. It takes much more to put something like this together.
In Billings, Kelsey Marison, MTN News.
Well, today is National Day of Prayer, and it comes as several states, including Montana, are passing laws to allow prayer and religious symbols in public schools. Tonight, our Charlie Kleps takes a look at legislation recently passed here in Montana and the impact it could have.
Those laws would revise rules about religious expression, allowing teachers and students to openly pray, as well as read religious materials in the classroom. Prayer is at the core of everyday life for Montanans. Signs of faith can be seen nearly everywhere you look, although our public schools have long been the exception. But now there's a renewed push to change that.
The more that you bring spirituality back into the classroom, the better kids are going to be doing. It will kind of uplift them for the day.
Charlotte Case is one of the many parents in Billings in full support of 2 bills that recently were approved by legislature. One would permit prayer on school grounds. The other allows religious texts to be read in class.
We tried to make it all-inclusive. We tried to not limit it to the Christian religion or to Bible only.
Republican Greg Kometz of Miles City authored the 2 bills, which he says simply allow students to exercise their religion.
That's what a school situation should be, to expose students to a lot of different subjects and a lot of different views on life.
The legislation, which was signed into law by Governor Gianforte, comes at a time when other states are pursuing similar measures. In Texas, the Senate just passed a bill to allow the 10 Commandments to appear in school classrooms. Just a few years ago, that idea would have been deemed unconstitutional by many, a concern expressed during a debate at the Montana Capitol.
If this is really about religious, why do we need to call out the Bible? Why are we not listing the Bible and the Quran and whatever religious texts are there?
Before 1492, there was never a religion on this land. My ceremonies does not reflect in this. All the students in my tribes here throughout in Montana is excluded from this.
All this comes at a time when fewer Americans believe in God. According to Gallup, 90% of the country believed in God in 1976. Last year, only 81% of Americans said they believed. A debate growing louder and louder on this National Day of Prayer.
They absorb so much and they learn so much. And so if you start young with your children and teaching them about prayer and about who loves them and how they were created, they can know that from the beginning.
In Billings, Charlie Kleps, MTN News.
And temperatures this afternoon, these are current readings. Check out 80 in Billings, 82 for you in Miles City, 83 Jordan, and also up in Glasgow, 75 Sheridan, and then we've got 70s all the way across the board here. Getting a little cooler around Worland because we've had more active weather. Showers and thunderstorms pretty much from northwest Montana down into northern Wyoming, and those blue flickers, that's all lightning that's continuing to develop across the area. So, well, we see a lot of this continuing to pop up into our region. Throughout the evening hours, we'll see a lot of this start to disappear, but another round of showers and thunderstorms will start to work back in as we get into the next few days with a definite cool down. All the forecast details are just a few minutes from now.
Construction crews broke ground today on a new 220-unit apartment complex along Lewis Avenue where the old Elks Lodge currently stands. Several townhomes will also be built on that property, with the 3-story apartment building constructed behind that. Thrive Development out of Salt Lake City does not have a construction timeline yet. Some of that will depend on what needs to be done for asbestos abatement on the old Elks Lodge before demolition. The tennis center will become part of the complex. The owners say it will bring much needed housing to Billings. This despite concerns from many residents in that area who worry about the traffic and crime that 200 new homes could bring to the area.
It's an infill project and it's kind of close to downtown. It's not all the way out west, and so where a lot of the growth is, and so we feel that it's uniquely positioned to be able to offer residents a lot of access to employment and the great downtown, and then a lot of other restaurants and businesses around as well.
A rare ginkgo tree was removed and has been donated to the Yellowstone Arboretum at Zoo, Montana. The groundbreaking was planned to coincide with Arbor Day.
A dire warning from a Roberts woman devoted to her horses. Her family's beloved mare now dead after eating grass clippings thrown into the pasture by a neighbor. While nothing can be done to bring her horse back, I met Jen Larson to learn about her mission to save others.
There's just something magical about horses.
Spending any time with Jen Larson's horses, it's hard not to like them.
There's something about how they respond to you. The connection you have when you're riding is different than anything else you'll ever have.
That's how it was when Jen's husband Seth met a mare named Chula.
He saw her and fell in love with her. We used to say that when they first met, violence played.
The Larsons had the Spanish Mustang for 10 years, until a week ago when she suddenly died after she ate grass clippings thrown into her pasture by a neighbor.
We were boarding with a friend, and I've told them every year for 4 to 5 years, don't put anything in my pastures, don't put anything in my pastures. If I hadn't moved the rest of my horses that week, I'd have at least 5 dead horses instead of 1.
While horses can safely graze on grass, clippings, which quickly clump and ferment, can be deadly.
Horses are meant to graze, so they're meant to chew and slowly pick and rip and tear. So if they get grass clippings, they can ingest way too many too fast, and they can choke on them. That's kind of the easy one though to solve as far as that goes. So they can choke, they can get colics, they can get colics are abdominal pain. They can get impactions, stomach impactions further down their intestines.
A type of colic, an impaction in twisted intestines, killed Chula.
I'm most angry, besides how much hurt all my family is that she suffered for hours, that she was in so much pain for hours.
Larson hasn't talked much to the neighbor and hasn't yet mentioned legal action.
I know they're animal lovers. I know they didn't do this aiming to kill my horse. I know they did it thinking it was something kind of nice. I'm honestly right now still too upset to talk to them.
But Larson did share the story on social media in hopes she can spread the message to keep grass clippings away from horses and to never feed horses without an owner's permission.
I got posts and shares from all over the U.S., all over Canada, South Africa, Europe, Australia. It has caused us some peace knowing that we might be saving other horses.
Her advice for now, love and cherish them as much as you can. In Roberts, Jackie Coffin, MTN News.
America's World War II heroes are fading fast, with just a fraction of the 16 million who served still alive today. Well, this past weekend, one of those veterans, Lorraine Blank, celebrated her 100th birthday surrounded by family here in Billings. VFW Post 1634 helped host a party for the occasion, something Commander Jerry Hudson told me was quite an honor.
She served in the U.S. Navy. Women could not go aboard a ship, so she installed fuel lines in bomb bay doors of B-17s. And was so proud of her country. I found out that she just loved patriotism, loved everything about America, and she had to serve. Her father had served, and she wanted to serve, and what an honor. I mean, to be there, to see a 100-year-old lady that was a Navy veteran, touched my heart.
Just over 160,000 World War II veterans are left alive, less than 3% of those who served in the war.
Still ahead on the MTN 530 News on Q2, aiming high, two Montanans throw their name in the ring as they look to race for the White House. We'll meet them next.
And later, from history in Montana to a nationwide hot topic, a 30-minute special will dive into all of the issues related to transgender rights. We'll be right back.